Hello, I'm Paul.
And I'm Phil. We're the Answer Guys, here to answer some questions about natural gas and electric safety.
Which is really important stuff because gas and electricity are basically everywhere. We use them every day. In our homes, where we work, schools, stores, you name it.
And gas and electricity are more than just simple conveniences. They're powerful sources of energy that need to be used properly and safely.
So we put together this program to help shed some light on the safe use of gas and electricity.
And how do we know this stuff?
It's our jobs.
We're the Answer Guys.
It's a good idea to know where your house's main electrical switch is so you can turn off the power to your house in case of an emergency.
You should also identify where your home's main fuse box or circuit breaker box is located. Usually you'll find it with your main switch or at a nearby sub-panel.
Overloading outlets with too many plugs is a real fire danger, and you're certain to blow fuses or trip your circuit breaker. If a circuit breaker trips because of an overload, here's how to reset it.
First, turn off or unplug the appliances on the circuit, then push the circuit breaker switch firmly to the off position. Then turn it back on. If the overload is cleared, the electricity will come back on. There we go.
If you have fuses instead of circuit breakers, make sure that you have plenty of spares on hand and never replace a fuse with one rated at a higher amperage.
Here are some other electric safety tips you should remember. Don't run electric cords under rugs where they can be walked on and damaged. Check for cords that are broken, frayed, or tied in knots, or that have melted insulation. Replace or repair them promptly.
Make sure to use an extension cord with a 3-prong plug for appliances that require grounding, and never ever pull an electrical cord out of the socket like that! Always grasp the plug by the plug, don't pull the cord.
And when you're doing that, don't touch those little metal prongs. They can give you a shock. And if there are small children around, cover unused outlets with safety covers. And never, ever let kids play around any electric outlets. If you use an electric heater, make sure you keep it positioned safely away from furniture and bedding, and please never ever hang clothing to dry over an electric heater or heat vent or hot plate. Make sure you use electrical appliances safely and only in accordance with the manufacturer's product manual.
I know the answer. What are we doing?
Well, here's a bright idea. When you change a light bulb, never exceed the wattage rating for the fixture. You can usually find out what the wattage rating is by checking a sticker at the base of the socket on your lamp or other lighting fixture.
Always turn off the switch before changing the bulb, and where you can, replace bulbs with fluorescent bulbs. They last a long time, are energy efficient, and economical. What are you doing here, Phil?
I'm planting a tree.
And of course, trees are an important part of electric safety.
And how's that?
Well, I will explain. You see, in no time at all, this little redwood here will be a great big redwood, and if it's planted in the wrong place, it might interfere with overhead power lines, causing all kinds of problems like knocking down a line or increased risk of fire hazard.
You know, I never really thought about that.
Most people don't think about it, so you got to be really careful where you plant a tree and to choose a proper tree species, one that, when mature, will be at least 5 feet below overhead lines. Take this to my house.
Okay. You know, another thing to think about when you're digging on your property, whether it's a little landscape project like this or you're having a contractor come out and excavate, and that's what's under the ground. Underground gas lines, electric lines, and other buried utilities. Well, I think we've got a clear location here. We have no electric lines overhead, no gas or electric lines below here. I think we've selected the correct species of tree, so let's plant.
Oh.
Good job. You should also be careful when trimming trees around electric lines. It is important to keep trees and vegetation clear of wires to reduce fire danger, but caution must be used when using ladders and pruning tools. The thing to remember is that metal ladders conduct electricity. If you, a ladder, or a tool come into contact with these electrical lines, it could result in severe injury or electrocution. A good rule of thumb, Paul, is to stay 10 feet away from electrical lines at all times. That goes for people, tools, and big metal ladders. And this message goes for kids, too. Kids climbing in trees, playing in tree forts, or trying to retrieve kites from tree limbs or wires also run the risk of coming into contact with electric lines. Remember, staying at least 10 feet away from power lines will keep you safe.
If you install a radio or television antenna or satellite dish on your roof, be very aware of power lines around you. Keep at least 10 feet of clearance between you, your tools or equipment, and power lines.
If you get too close, the antenna could touch the line and become energized, shocking anyone holding the antenna, guy wires, or the television cable. Here's a very important aspect of electrical safety, and that's dealing with downed power lines. Say you're in a car wreck, your car hits a pole, power line drops, and it's touching your car. What do?
Die, get out of here quick!
Wrong. You stay in your vehicle.
I stay in the vehicle.
That's exactly right. The vehicle could be energized. That is, electricity could be flowing through it. If you stay in the car, you won't feel a thing.
Well, why is that?
Because the 4 rubber tires are insulating the car. If you try and leave that car, the minute your foot touches the pavement, poof, you could be toast because your body becomes a direct path to ground for the electricity. Now, if the car is on fire and you need to get out,
I gotta get out.
jump clear without touching the ground and the vehicle at the same time. And shuffle away without lifting your feet very high. Don't walk or run. Assume that every downed line is a live electric line. And remember, winds and electrical energy can whip lines around, making them extremely dangerous. Stay a safe distance away and do not attempt to free anyone or anything that is touching a power line. The best thing to do is call 911 for emergency help.
At home, it's important to know where your main gas shutoff valve is, just in case you have to turn off the gas supply to the entire house.
In general, you never have to turn off a gas meter unless there is the odor or sound of escaping gas, or unless there's major damage to the building.
To turn off your gas, give the valve a quarter turn in either direction so it's crosswise to the pipe. It's a good idea to keep a wrench in an accessible place so it's handy when you need it.
If your gas is turned off, leave it off until service can be restored safely by a Pacific Gas and Electric service person or other qualified professional. Most gas appliances have an individual shutoff valve like this one right here that allow you to shut off the gas to that specific appliance. It's a good idea to know where these appliance shutoff valves are located in the event you have a problem. Many older appliances have a small, continuously burning gas flame called a pilot light, which ignites the main burner. Newer models have electronic igniters and no standing flame. Know which, if any, of your appliances have a pilot light and keep the manufacturer's instructions within easy reach.
That is fantastic. There we go. There we go.
And keep a flashlight handy to investigate minor gas odors. Never use matches or candles to check if pilot lights are lit. And never turn any electric switches on or off if you smell gas. Flipping a switch can cause a small spark, which could ignite gas fumes.
If the smell or sound of escaping gas continues, or if you have any doubts, open windows and doors and get everyone out of the building. Then call 911 from your neighbor's phone.
When lighting any matchlit burners or ovens, always light the match before turning on the gas. If the flame goes out, turn off the burner and let the gas disperse before relighting. And never use your oven to heat your home. This misuse of your oven not only puts you at risk for burns from hot surfaces, it'll wear out your oven parts and controls. There's a fireplace right over there.
Keep the area around the water heater clear of all materials that can burn easily, such as cleaners, solvents, gasoline, mops, newspapers, and all that kind of stuff.
The same rule also applies to your furnace. Keep the area around it clear of anything, and we do mean anything flammable. And you know why. Flames, fumes, baboom.
And you got to keep all air vents clear of any obstructions because gas appliances have to have a continuous supply of fresh air to operate efficiently and safely.
Exhaust ducts also need to be checked for holes and obstructions. You want to avoid any risk of carbon monoxide entering any interior space. Proper fire safety includes making sure smoke alarms are installed throughout your home and replacing batteries annually, like on your birthday or at the beginning of the year.
Be sure to keep fire extinguishers handy in high-risk areas like the kitchen and workshop.
And what's something we already learned? Keep all flammable items away from gas appliances.
Also, make sure you know how to shut off your gas and electricity.
There will be a test.
If your house is flooded, don't touch any appliances with the electricity still on.
That's how people get electrocuted. First, turn your electricity off at the home's main circuit box.
But make sure you're not standing in any water or you could get zapped. Well, now you know how to be smart and safe when it comes to gas and electric safety, both around the house and during an emergency.